Welcome back to Genre. I'm your host, Katie.
And I'm Elyse.
And today we're talking about Daggermouth by H.M. Wolfe. But first, we have some things to say. So the other night we were out and we were talking about Kiefer Sutherland. Elyse, I can't unthink about the first movie that I saw Kiefer Sutherland in. And it's made me think of him differently his entire career, no matter what I've watched that he's been in. And Elyse was saying how she loves him.
I love him because of Young Guns, because of Flatliners, and then he went on to the Three Musketeers movies.
Yep.
And then 24, of course, was a peak Kiefer Sutherland moment as well.
Yep.
But apparently, because I never saw Eye for an Eye, I don't really know Kiefer Sutherland.
That's exactly right. So I was talking about the cinematic classic Eye for an Eye, starring Sally Field, Kiefer Sutherland, an absolutely tragic tale.
Yeah.
And that got us chatting about vengeful women. Vengeful women in movies.
Which really is going to tie to Daggermouth. I think this was a good segue for us, a good intro.
Good segue.
Yeah.
And I just want to remind everyone of these classics.
Okay, hit us, Katie.
We've got Eye for an Eye, like I said, Sally Field, Kiefer Sutherland. We've got Double Jeopardy, starring Ashley Judd and Tommy Lee Jones. And then we have Enough, starring the one, the only, J-Lo.
Yeah. I remember watching Enough in the movie theaters.
Yeah.
And I remember leaving that movie theater and going, I guess we're just not going to talk about the premeditated murder portion of this. I mean, listen, I'm not saying the guy didn't deserve it. But she assassin trained, essentially, for the majority of the movie, and then booby-trapped his house, and then murdered him in cold blood.
Yeah.
Now, again, he was a very bad man who was abusing her and her daughter. So, I mean, I understand where it came from. But I was like, unlike Double Jeopardy, where Ashley Judd was already tried for a murder she didn't commit, and then when she came back out, she said, watch me commit it. Like, that legally made sense in my brain.
I mean, that was also cold-blooded murder, though.
I know, but like, legally, she couldn't have been tried for it again.
Yeah.
And that's on us.
Yeah.
That's on the Constitution. So
that's on the system.
But the other one, I'm just like, ooh, really premeditated murder. Same thing with Ashley Judd. But I think female rage is something we're really going to be talking about in this episode a lot.
Yeah.
And I think those are some good primers for him.
Yeah.
Those are some early 1990s primers.
Yeah. So please, if you haven't seen them, educate yourselves.
And send some others our way. Apparently, this is one of Katie's favorite movie genres,
Yes.
which I didn't know about.
One of my absolute favorite movie genres, yes.
Okay, and then I think for me, and this also ties into Daggermouth a little bit, because there is no audiobook
Yes.
for Daggermouth, because it is at least at the moment, an indie published book. It did just get picked up, but there's no, by a traditional publisher, but there's no audiobook for it. So I, as I often do, use the Alexa hack when there's no audiobook for it. And it came to my attention that not many people know the Alexa hack. And I feel like I'm just going to want to talk about it right here.
Yeah.
So
I do not use this hack because it's weird.
Listen, it should only be used when an audiobook is not available. And what it is that since Kindle and Alexa, both Amazon products, you can go into Alexa on your phone, download the Alexa app on your phone, and tell Alexa to read your Kindle book to you. And it will read it to you in the Alexa voice. And it does the best it can. It's not doing great. So, you take what you can get. It will constantly mispronounce words, like the difference between live and live. You're just going to have to use your context clues. It's going to choose the wrong one every single time.
Did you listen to it this way, this book?
Yeah, I listened to a lot of it. I've read in that, but I listened to a lot of it. It's obviously the Alexa voice. So she's really trying to give you, some human emotion in there, but she can't really. It's better than if you were to just use the accessibility option in Kindle, which that truly just sounds like a robot reading it. It's a little better than that. But it should not be used except for when there is no audiobook. An actual audiobook recorded by actual actors is, of course, a superior way to listen to a book. But in a pinch, Alexa will get it done for you in a pinch. And you can't, at least I can't figure out how to adjust its speed or anything like that. You're listening to it at 1 and going through. But
no,
when there is no other option, it works.
I suppose. That remains to be seen.
I know. I feel like you just started audiobooks and you're in it for the presentation.
Yeah. And I love a duet, and I feel like this would be so good.
Yeah.
This book would be so good as a duet.
Yeah. All right. So, with that, I think we can just
Jump right
Get right
in.
into the book. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it.
I know. All right. So, reminder, this is our spoiler free section.
Mhm.
So, we're going to talk for about 20, 25 minutes, and then we're going to jump into the spoilers. We'll sound the spoiler alarm so you'll know when to stop listening if you have not read yet. All right. So, short synopsis of Daggermouth. In Newfound Haven, mercy is illegal and love can literally get you killed. Grayson Cyril is the president's son and the city's executioner, and Shadera Kale is the assassin hired to take him out. When her attempt fails and they're forced into a very public marriage instead, two enemies end up bound together in a city built on masks, control, and violence, and things start unraveling fast.
Bum,
Bum, bum,
bum,
bum.
bum.
Okay, let's just get right into
Yeah.
it. Okay. Um, what is the female main character's name and how did you pronounce it?
I pronounced it Shadra.
Shadra?
Yeah, because her nickname is Shade. But what did you just say?
Shadera.
I don't know which one could be right. Yeah.
I said Shadera was what I called her the entire time.
And Shadra is what I called her. But if I'm looking at this once more,
Either of those could be right.
Shadra. I mean, like technically Shadra, that E probably wouldn't be there. So Shadera, as you're saying, Shadera. Shadera, like that E makes sense, but I'm just ignoring that E. Shadra.
And her last name is Kael. Kale.
Kale. And they used her last name in the book a lot. You know, like,
Kale.
yeah, Kale. Yeah, that I think I said
This is
Kale.
giving Cole and Kale.
Kale. It is giving Cole and Kale. Shadera, both of those make sense, but we can pick one.
I have no idea. Like I don't look up any of these books beforehand, so I don't.
I tried to find somebody who really had because there was no audiobook. I can't trust Alexa to give
Oh.
me the pronunciation of these things.
Did the author ever talk about it?
I didn't go into like a total deep dive, but I did try to go into what she has posted. I think it's Shadera. Now that we're really talking about it, Katie,
I
I
mean,
feel like
I'm extremely wrong when it
I
comes
know,
to
but
names. So
Shadra also doesn't make sense.
I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, we'll just go back and forth. This is what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Hers is the hardest. Everybody else, I think,
it's pretty
is
fine.
pretty straightforward.
All right, so let's talk about the author.
Okay, so H.M. Wolfe.
Yeah.
This is not her debut novel.
No.
She's has a couple more out there. I want to say two, and they look to be romantasy. I didn't
I
dig deeper
know.
into them.
I'm excited. I want to read them now.
And I'm not positive of the timeline, but from what I can gather also from H.M. Wolfe's Instagram page is that she published this with an indie publisher in December. And by the end of January, it was picked up by an imprint of Penguin Random House, I'm pretty sure. So it's getting a whole traditional publishing run for the duet that this is going to be. It's just going to be a two book. It's going to be Daggermouth and then Python. And so she got picked up for that. Apparently, it was like a 7-figure deal. So it happened quite quickly. So good for her.
And I think that Python is coming out later this year.
Ooh.
I don't remember it coming out, but I did start seeing it like a month ago on TikTok. One was talking about it.
It was picked up by Simon and Schuster, Scarlet Press, which is like an imprint of that, not Penguin Random House. And it really stands by my prediction, if you remember, Katie, that I think dystopian is where we're going to go.
I know. You really called that.
I think we're kind of done with complete suspension of belief. Obviously, a dystopian novel, you have to suspend belief, but like we're
Yeah.
not suspending it dragons. We're not suspending it fairies,
Yeah.
right? I think we're still going to like that, but I think we're interested in something a little bit more grounded
Yeah.
and something that can really talk about what's
What
going on currently in a more grounded way, something that can be recognized.
I was going to say, I don't know if I've read dystopians, but like this is a very romantic, heavy through point in this.
Mhm. I mean, maybe we can coin it right here because I feel like this is like a dystopiance.
Dystopians.
Like a romantic dystopians.
dystopians.
We can work on it.
Yeah.
If you're going to compare it to a lot of what they compared it to, like a lot of the marketing materials compare it to Hunger Games,
And Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid's Tale, V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
Right? And those are dystopian with romance B plots.
Yep.
I mean, Handmaid's Tale barely. There's barely any
Oh, yeah.
romance in it, right? But like the V for Vendetta, yes, there's a romance there. And then Hunger Games, of course, there's the classic early aughts love triangle.
Oh, do you know what's another thing that I really enjoyed? We have a bunch of couples, and I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
But other tropes,
were
Forced marriage. So
forced marriage.
not a
Yes.
marriage of convenience. This is a forced nuptial.
Yeah.
Um,
Inconvenience, if anything.
yeah. Inconvenient marriage.
Yeah.
Very enemies to lovers.
That's what you've been seeing online. They're saying, like, this is a true
Yeah.
enemies to lovers, and it is a true enemies
Yep.
to lovers in a way, honestly, I haven't seen in a while. There's no question of like, "Oh, they just don't like each other."
No.
No.
They literally hate each
They
other.
literally hate each other. They on the opposite sides of a war, baby, and are pretty mad about it.
Yep. And then also this is obviously a political rebellion.
Yeah. And I also had this real feminine rage
Oh,
throughout this book,
yes. So good.
and everybody in here is morally gray. There's not a
Everyone.
single character in this book that thinks that violence is not the answer.
Yep.
Like, we are in a world in which it has been set up that unfortunately violence is the only answer,
Yep.
and all of our main characters are okay with that.
Yep.
It was really interesting. Again, it was sort of different. It's not a wholly different dystopian novel, right? It has all of the hallmarks of a dystopian novel. All the romance hallmarks are there, but it's all done just a half step different. And it was really working for me.
Yep.
Like, there was just these little difference in what we're doing that made this so interesting, so engaging.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
Let's just get into the world building a little bit
Yeah.
because I think that we need to do that to set some context. So Newfound Haven, which is the name of this city, is separated by 3 rings.
Mhm.
So in the middle, we call it the heart. That's where your wealthy live. That's where the king.
He's a president, although
president.
he's certainly not acting like he was
Yeah.
elected by anybody.
Yeah.
But he
Don't think he was.
No, don't think he was, but he was president.
So that is where the rich of the rich live. The ring right after that is cardinal,
Mhm.
and that's kind of like the working class. So all of those cardinal people work in the heart for the elite.
Yeah. Or in the cardinal in like factories.
Yeah.
So they're doing a lot of the industrial work.
Yep. And then the last ring is called the boundary, and
Mhm.
that's essentially like the slums.
It's the slums. They're just basically trying to stay alive.
Yep.
And the way this world is set up is that the elites in the heart control everything. So any food that goes to the rings is set by
The president.
Yeah, by the president and by the elites in the heart. So everything is dependent on the ruling class, which of course is corrupt as hell.
Yeah.
And the ruling class, everybody in the heart who is an elite, wears a mask, some
Yeah.
sort of fancy, individual to them type of mask.
What did you think of when you thought about the masks in your little head?
I thought they were metal, obviously. That was said several times. And then I pictured them like,
Like the mask with Jim Carrey?
no, not
Oh.
like the mask with Jim Carrey. You know what I sort of pictured them as? Man in the Iron Mask with Leonardo DiCaprio. Remember that
Yeah.
movie? But less of a cage
Yeah.
and more fit to your face perfectly.
Because you could eat with the mask. So then I got
Yes.
really confused as to, did the mask cover the whole face like this, or did the mask only cover a portion of the face? I've seen some fan art and it differs.
I was really thinking it covered the entire face. It was metal and it had some sort of suction to it. So, like, there was no attaching it to your face. It just sort of fit to your face. And it was unique to whoever you were. Like, you wore
Yeah.
it. You wore it all the time. People recognized you by your mask.
Yep.
And you never took it off.
No, never.
You could only take it off with somebody that you were bound to under the vow, which was basically marriage.
Yep.
And that was the only person who could see you without your mask on. And if anybody else did, it was death. So that's just really high level,
Yep.
the world. And there is a revolution a brewing.
A Bruin.
A brewing against the elites coming from the rings, mostly the boundary.
All right, let's get into the characters.
Okay.
So we've got Shadera.
Yeah, we're going to go with Shadera.
Shadera.
Okay.
We meet her first, and she is a legendary assassin. In the boundary, there's this group of mercenaries called Daggermouths, and
Yeah.
they are all assassins, and they essentially get paid to kill people. Like, you can take a hit out on somebody, and then it gets shopped around to whatever Daggermouth wants to pick it up. And Shadera is the best of the best.
Yeah.
Badass.
Very badass. And again,
Yeah.
so morally gray. If you were to even think about Selena Sardothian,
Yeah.
right? She
Mhm.
was always killing for the right reasons, you know?
Yep.
Shadera's just killing.
She is, but it does seem like she's got a bit of a code.
She's got a bit of a code. She's not killing kids or
Yeah.
anything like that. But like she's definitely been beat down by the
Yeah.
society. And while many of her friends are part of the revolution, she's not all in the beginning of the book on
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
She's just doing what she's doing to stay alive,
Yep.
and that's what she's here for.
Yep.
She found what she's good at,
Yep.
and that's what she's gonna do.
That's killing people.
And that's killing people.
And then we got Grayson Serrell, and so he's the president's son, his younger son.
Yeah, second son.
Second son. He currently acts as the executioner, which is truly terrible.
Yeah.
And so anyone that breaks the rules in any of the rings gets a public execution, televised.
On a stage in the middle of town square. Very, very classic regime intimidation.
Shadera's parents were killed this way because they fell in love and were from two different rings, which is illegal, can't happen. And the president killed her parents. So she big hates them. So, and speaking of which, we've got Maximus Serral, who is the dad and president. Evil man.
He is straight evil. I actually don't have anybody in any sort of popular book that I've read who's been so just irredeemably terrible.
I mean, probably like in Alchemized or Rose and Chains, like some of those.
Yeah, the
like,
the Voldemort characters.
Voldemort character,
Sure,
yeah.
like sure.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's the one who's setting most of this
in motion. Yep. Then we've got Lyra Serral, and she is the youngest Serral. She's the sister, and she works as like a communications expert for the family and for the regime.
Yeah, I called her she was their comms director.
Yeah, she was a comms director. She seems pretty silent, but she has she's got
a role to play.
She's got a role to play.
As everybody does.
And then my personal favorite character,
Callum. Yeah, I knew it. I knew you were going to say Callum. That's Grayson's best friend, and he is in charge of the entertainment district. So he owns like all the clubs.
Yep.
In the heart.
My man.
And we find that he deals in secrets as well. He's a couple of irons in the fire, you know?
And one of the only people, it sounds like, that the president's rule
doesn't touch as much.
Yeah, he really skirts around what's going on with the elite, but man, does he have a lot of secrets.
Yeah, and he collects them. He's basically an unofficial spy master, not for the president.
Not for the president.
For himself. He's doing this for himself.
Ugh, he's my favorite character.
I have one last one, and it's Jameson, who is Shadera's love interest from the Boundary.
Yep.
And he is also much more a part of the rebellion than Shadera is. And he is, well, we learn later he is, in fact,
the leader
the head of the rebellion.
Wait, and then I guess we should say one more just to close out the family. The Serral family is Alara Serral, and she is the wife and mother of the Serral kids.
And then I guess if we're really going to just do all of the Serrals, then we can also say there is the older brother is dead, and his name is Brooker. And that action of Brooker dying, who was killed by a Daggermouth, is when we enter the world what is needling Grayson and Lyra. There's mourning Booker and beginning to question some things.
Yep.
And then before we go into It's Giving, I also want to say that I thought it was so interesting that this book was written in the third person limited, which means you were getting nothing independently, and it wasn't a totally omniscient narrator either. So when it was a Shadera chapter, you were just getting what she saw. You know what I mean? What was obviously what she felt. And this had multiple POVs throughout it. And you were really getting what that character was seeing. There was no real like unreliable narrator or anything like that. It was just that you were very much learning things as they were learning things.
It was kind of like you're a fly on the wall.
Yeah. And if you wanted to find out their past, you had to wait until they wanted to say something about it. I think actually led to some of the the anticipation that you had while you were reading the book. It really caught my attention immediately.
Yeah.
And I wanted to turn the page. And again, it was just that little bit different. A lot of the particular romantasy books are in the first person.
Yep.
So I thought it was just that little bit different. That was so interesting. And I think one more thing we should say is just maybe giving how the action kicks off in this book. And that is that Shadera takes a contract that is to kill Grayson.
Yep.
the executioner. And she's obviously like, "Yeah, no problem.
Yep.
Would love to.
Yep.
Say less." And so that's she goes into the heart to kill him,
Yep.
and the action starts from there.
Yep. All right. What did you think it was giving?
It was hard because they really picked out the 3. Their marketing materials were correct. Like the Hunger Games, V for Vendetta, Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
The other one, but it's, like, not quite right. It was also giving me Blade Runner a little bit, but it's not
Interesting.
fair because that's like, the movie Blade Runner. Like, that's very
But
dystopian
he's a
s
vampire.
No, 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 no. Blade Runner, is clones.
Oh,
You're thinking about Blade the Vampire or something
that's
like that.
confusing. Why do we got 2 movies like this?
Blade Runner is with, it's a Ridley Scott movie with Harrison Ford, and it's, like, takes place in the future.
Oh.
It's a classic dystopian movie.
Oh.
So the atmosphere of the world, I think, is
Yeah.
very similar, like very industrial. The elites are in like the highest point of the tower and like
Yeah.
living it up. But then like the people on the street are fighting over
Yeah.
food and it's like very dangerous. There's obviously like huge class inequities. So it was sort of giving me that a little bit, but only in its world building vibes, not in its actual storyline.
Yeah. I mean, I think this was a little less Handmaid's Tale. I mean, it
Mhm.
it had some of that, but yeah, there was some, like, real nods to the Hunger Games. Obviously, there's no trials or anything
Mhm.
like that, but there was some real things, real callbacks.
Particularly the way that they dealt with the elites and just how
Well, and, like, the uniting of the rebels.
and rings essentially like and
Yeah.
all of the way that it was set up. Yeah.
And I don't know why I can't stop thinking about I feel like I think about this all the time. This has nothing to do with The Fifth Element, but
No, I
I
think
was thinking The Fifth Element because there's also that guy,
yeah,
one of the bad guys that has half a
half a man.
thing on his
Yeah.
head, and I
No,
think
I
of him
think
all
that's
the
similar.
time.
That's the reason why I was thinking Blade Runner, I think is a similar reason. It's this really industrial future world,
Yeah,
which is
gritty,
so
very
very
gritty.
gritty. And there was nothing about this book that made you go, "Well, that's America." Like, and that's kind of what those movies gave too. There's
Yep,
nothing about those movies, which are obviously a dystopian future at some point, that make you think it's America. It's just
yeah,
like that idea of this like very gritty industrial future with extreme class inequity.
yep.
Yeah. Who would like this book? Certainly not our mother.
Certainly not our mother, and
It
I would
was
say she would not like this because it is extremely
it's
violent.
violence. That's why our mother would not like this. This was
Yep,
very, very violent. Again, these are characters who are cool with
yep,
shooting first, asking questions later.
yep. They are violent.
Very violent. This is a violent world. And you know me, I find sometimes extreme violence to be scary. That's why I don't like horror movies, for example. But this
Yeah,
was all, again, justified is hard to say in this case that everybody is morally gray, if not morally black.
yeah,
But it is really taken into context that this is a rebellion, this is a
yep,
war, and it's sort of what has to be done.
yeah.
And it helps that the president is truly
It's
terrible.
truly terrible.
Yeah.
Truly terrible.
So, what did you think? Overarching, first review, if you will.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Same, same. I was going to say, we disagreed so heartily with the last one, and I have a feeling we will agree wholeheartedly with this one.
Yep. 100%. This was such a good palate cleanser from the last book.
Yeah. I will say, and we're going to go deeper into it, but also one of the better books, just overall, that I've read in years.
Oh, yeah. I think I said last year, my favorite book was Rose and Chains, and
Mhm.
right now I feel like this is up there with my favorite book of this year. So let's see
Yeah.
if that can be changed.
And we can give our one line plots. This was another one of those one line plots that I kept a little bit higher level because I don't want to give anything
Yeah.
away. Like, you should go into this book pretty cold. Just listen to not our spoiler free section and then go in cold. Don't
Yeah.
don't learn anything else. Like, it's not a super small read. What is it, like 500-ish
500.
pages?
Yeah.
But it goes by super fast.
Yeah.
The last 100 pages, d- d- don't start if you're not going to finish because you will. You'll be late.
Oh my god. Kept me up at night. Alrighty, Elyse, you want to give us your one-line plot?
Yeah. Okay. An assassin and an executioner walk into a revolution and discover it's bigger than their loyalties, bloodier than their whispers, and far messier than either of them expected.
Ooh, nice. All right, mine is she came to kill him, he kills people like her, and now they're starring in the wedding of the century while unraveling secrets, triggering a rebellion, and figuring out how to take down Daddy Dearest.
Yeah, that's good. That is good.
now we are going to get into the spoiler section. So if you do not want to get spoiled, stop listening right now.
Wee 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 wee. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers.
All right. When did you decide that you did or didn't like this book?
I mean, I loved it right away.
Me too.
Like, I don't think there was a moment that I didn't like it. And I was started to highlight things in the Kindle, like, immediately. It hit me immediately.
When the book opens, we're introduced to Shadera immediately. And something that I loved is you find out how badass she is and that she's also in her 30s.
Yes, everybody's in their 30s.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, our people.
And very clearly, I think she's 33. It was like one of the things I
Yep.
like highlighted in the beginning. I was like, nice. You just let us know off the bat. Everybody's around that age.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And it kicks off immediately.
Yeah.
And I love that. What are some of your favorite scenes? There's so many that I'm picking ones that were not the plot twists.
One of the scene stealers is the last 100 pages of the book,
Yeah.
and I think we saved that. We
Yeah,
saved
we
that for the
saved
plot
that.
twist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should say that the reason why this marriage ended up happening is because when Shadera goes to kill Grayson, he's basically like, yeah, man, just kill me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be alive anymore. And he takes off his mask. And she's about to kill him, and a bunch of people just walk in the room and they were like, oh my God, he's unmasked in front of this Daggermouth. And somehow Lyra, his sister, and his mom come up with this plan to say, we can save you, but you're going to have to marry this woman in like
Yeah.
a public display. Okay, so then after Shadera and Grayson are shacking up for a while, my other favorite scene is when they get back essentially like the night before their vow. And there's people sent, I guess, to kill them.
Yeah.
And they kill everybody in the apartment.
Just everyone.
It's so badass the way that they are kind of working together, even though they hate each other, but they kind of like each other. And it's like this weird, intimate thing. And they just annihilate all of these people sent to kill them. And then they like go to sleep.
Well, no, that was when like the dam broke, and that was when they like made out for the
Well, I
first
know,
time.
but then they go to sleep and then they wake up in the morning and all the bodies are
all the
still
bodies
there.
are still there. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they're
then
just like-
Callum walks in. My other favorite scene, Callum walks in afterwards because Callum very often cleans up bodies
Yeah.
for Grayson. It sounds like it's part of his
Does
it's
it
part
all.
of Callum's part of Callan's business. And he just makes fun of them for being like, so did you just kill all of these people and then have sex? And he's like, listen, I'm not judging. I'm just saying, is this
like-
what this is? If it is, we should talk about it. But like, you just didn't even clean up the bodies?
Nope, they didn't clean up anything. Loved it, loved it. And then honestly, I loved Lyra and Callum together. These kind of like star-crossed lovers.
Yeah, because they were always in love, but Lyra, of course, can't choose who she marries or is with because
Yeah,
she's the
Just
president's
a
daughter.
woman.
And yeah, and she's the fact that she even has a job, the fact that she even is like the comms
know.
director is banana cakes. Because their mother is so
Broken.
broken, and it's just constantly in the background and truly getting tortured by Maximus, the
All the
husband,
time.
on a just a weekly basis for being too wild, for not being, a perfect little quiet little wife.
Yeah, it's sad.
I know. But anytime that Lyra and Callum are together, it's very cute. And they were together at one point, and then,
Yeah.
he broke up with her for her own good, which she knows but has never really forgiven him for.
Yep.
And when they finally do get back together, it really feels earned, like super
Yeah.
earned. And now they maybe get like maybe every third chapter or something. But it was really
Yeah.
worked out well throughout the book.
Yeah, and I like that. That's not something I feel like we get that often, which is another love story.
Yeah.
When we're talking about a love story, technically, that's kind of the only love story that we're getting. We obviously know the two main characters, Grayson and Shadera, feel things for each other, but it's not necessarily said out loud as much.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely falling for each other as
Yeah.
it goes, but because they were truly so enemies, they both feel legitimately very badly for feeling any sort of a way
Yeah.
towards the other one. And there's roadblocks set up against them all the time, just anyway. For example, she does really want to kill him.
Yeah.
And he really wants to kill her. And so even though they might think the other one's hot, they're like, I would kill you if I had the chance.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until probably 3/4 of the book that they at least stopped wanting to actively kill each other.
Yeah. And I think that Shadera realizes that Grayson is just as much a prisoner
Mm-hmm.
And he's doing what he has to do to survive the same
Mhm.
way that she is, even
Yeah.
though it sucks
Yeah.
because he literally just goes outside and kills people every day.
Sort of right after Callum comes in to clean up all of the bodies
Yep.
that they murdered, and Lyra comes in shortly afterwards
Mhm.
when they're interrogating the one person who was alive after that
Yeah.
attack.
Oh,
I'm forgetting his name. It's not important, but let's say his name is Marcus, Officer Marcus. And Lyra walks in and sees all of the bodies first of all, and is like, "What is happening?" Sees them in the other room, and Callum in particular doing the torturing because he
yep.
is also apparently a torturer. Advanced interrogation is
Mhm.
what he calls
He
it,
does it all.
and she's aghast, but like not really aghast, but definitely a little bit more surprised at all of the dead bodies and the torture
Yeah.
that's happening than everybody else who was participating in it. And they go outside, leave the guy who they were torturing in the room, talk about it. And when Lyra finds out the name
Yeah.
of this man, she goes, "Give me a gun." At like right after she was just chastising them, takes the gun, goes into the room, shoots that
Yep.
officer in the head, comes back out and says he was one of the 11. And we find out then that her dad, the president, when she was 14, gave her to 11 Vera
Yeah.
soldiers, basically, like sold her. And she was raped by these men. And she's been looking for them ever since. And this is the first one that she found. And so she just shot him right in the head.
Yeah.
And that's like what I'm saying with this book is that she was supposed to be for a brief moment, you're like, oh, she's gonna be the one everybody needs to protect, the good one, the one who
Yeah.
has some sort of, no killing code. And she's like, oh no,
No.
no, no, no.
Badass.
And then afterwards, everybody was like, yeah,
Good job.
good job. That's absolutely right.
Yep.
I think whatever Shadera said to her afterwards, I had highlighted. I was like,
Me
that's
too.
unbelievable.
Yep. All right, what's your next?
My next one is when Jameson is in the boundary. It's after he comes to free Shadera, and
Yep.
Shadera's like, I can't do it.
Yep.
It's like, if we break this marriage, he's going to bomb the boundaries
Yep.
and everything else, basically. So Jameson leaves and goes back to the boundary and is going to meet with the head of the Daggermouths,
Jaeger.
Jaeger, to sort of join forces. They're
Yep.
both working against the heart, but not together. And it's very clear that if they shared all of this information, it would probably be a more efficient way to run a rebellion.
Mhm. Mhm.
And on his way, a bunch of Vera soldiers come
Yeah.
and is trying to shut down the street for curfew and starts just killing children on the street, basically.
Yeah.
And Jameson just kills all of them. Jameson himself just kills all of the soldiers
Yeah.
and then walks into the bar at the
Yeah.
meeting covered in blood,
Yeah.
and all the Daggermouths in the bar start, like,
Yeah.
pounding the table,
Yeah.
like, as he's walking in, and he just, like, throws it all down, and I was just like, that again, third like, a tertiary character, and I'm like, "That's unbelievable." Like, I
Yep.
could picture that in my head so clearly. If this turned into a show, like, that's a whole
Oh,
episode.
yeah, this would be a great movie.
Yeah. Like, that's a whole episode if of the show,
Yep.
of him just, like, in the boundaries and just showing what a badass he is.
Yep. So my last scene stealer, and then I feel like we should go in a plot twist because we have to say them
Yeah.
because
Otherwise, we're just gonna be
yeah.
working around him.
Yep. So that meeting that they're all at basically the Daggermouth headquarters, which is a bar, of course. And everybody is just coming to the bar to talk about basically the rebellion. They're like, we are going to attack during or after this vow ceremony. And people just one by one keep coming into the bar and nobody knows. They're like, no,
Yeah.
what are you doing
What are
here? You doing here? And I guess let's start with the biggest plot twist there is bum 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 Brooker,
The brother
the brother
who was
that
supposed to be dead.
was supposed to be dead, killed by a Daggermouth, is in fact not dead. So surprise, surprise, Brooker is really alive, and he comes strolling into this meeting.
Hey, sis.
Yeah,
That was the one thing I called. I
I did
called that.
too.
As
Yeah,
soon as I found out there was an older brother who was dead, and I'm just like,
he's not
he
really
ain't
dead.
dead.
He is in a relationship, it sounds like, with the cardinal rebel leader.
Yeah. And it was a shock and a surprise. Oh, and the convoluted tale that was told was really something that I was like, I can't believe this worked. And it turns out a twist or two later, it didn't work.
No.
But they basically had this whole crazy plan. They faked his death, and it all started with Shadera getting his contract, but it wasn't under his real name. It
Yeah.
was under this secondary name that he had been going by in the Cardinal to sort of help with the rebellion.
Yeah.
And so she didn't know that she killed him. And that was, of course, sort of like a third act breakup that wasn't a third act
Yeah.
breakup because they were never together. But that was the thing that got thrown in Grayson's face while both him and Shadera were getting tortured
Yeah.
by his father so they wouldn't run away before this marriage. And it really threw a big wrench in the plan. And at this point, of course, Grayson doesn't know his brother's alive.
Couple things Grayson doesn't know. He also finds out at the end that his dad isn't his dad.
That was another thing on that scene because Captain Mickle, who's supposed to be like the very best soldier that ever is, the right hand of Maximus, the president,
Yep.
is not only part of the rebellion, but Grayson's dad.
Real dad.
Yep, because him and Alara were in love, and then she was forced to marry Maximus, and he basically got close to Maximus so he could be close to her.
Yep.
And also be a part of this rebellion.
Yep.
And keeping Grayson safe was pretty much his only requirement for being the spy inside of the heart for
Yeah.
the rebels. And so much like the insane plan that they did for Brooker, they made an equally insane plan to fake Grayson's death, which was also going to start with Shadera killing him,
Yep.
but not really killing him, unbeknownst to her.
Yep.
With not real bullets and not real whatevers.
Yeah.
And surprising no one except for all the people involved, that went absolutely sideways.
Yeah.
That went sideways real quick. None of that worked, and now they're forced into marriage.
Yeah. Feels like they should have let her in on that one.
Yeah,
if that was
maybe
the
they
plan.
just could have let her know, but they knew that she was the only one who could get into the heart and get close enough
Yep.
to him just because she was the most skilled. But I think they thought, probably correctly at the time, that they couldn't let her in because she hated him so much that she would have never
Yep.
taken the fake contract. She would have
Well,
wanted to really kill him.
Everything went wrong there.
Everything went wrong. Yes.
Yep. And that kind of leads us to the end, where also everything went wrong.
Everything went so wrong.
So I knew after this meeting, I was like, this is a good plan.
Yes,
Aligned
after
on
this
some
meeting,
goals.
yeah, it really feels like at the very least they split up the tasks. Like
Yep.
everybody had a core part of the plan to complete.
Yep.
Felt like everybody was on the same page.
Yep.
And sure, it was dangerous and everything had to go exactly right.
But everybody knew what their job was.
Everybody knew what their job was.
And we get to the vow ceremony, televised marriage.
Yeah.
That isn't technically going to be televised.
Because again, part of the big scheme, because now Lyra's part of this plan and she's a media mogul.
Yeah.
So she's done a lot of pulling some strings. So this is not actually going to be televised in the boundaries, because the big idea is that this marriage is going to be like, see, the heart can bring anybody to heal. Even the most insane boundary assassin, Daggermouth, can come under the power of the heart.
Yep.
And you were supposed to show it for some nice propaganda, some run-of-the-mill propaganda. But everything went awry.
Everything was going as planned, of course. And even Callum, our dear friend Callum, said everything seems to be going too smoothly.
Yeah, because he was in charge of basically jamming all of the communications. He's also a tech whiz, you see. Our boy
Callum is a
can do it
man
all.
of many talents.
Yes.
My favorite character.
Yeah, and so it was going too smoothly. And first it started with Lyra basically getting on the horn and being like, sorry, I had to do it. And that's when Callum realized they were locked out of all of the communications. Everything that he did to try to jam everything had been undone. And then no one could get in touch with anyone. So Callum's running from his apartment or wherever he was to try and catch Lyra because she was going to be on the stage for this wedding.
And she's doing something and nobody knows what she's going to do.
And they're like, oh no, did Lyra betray us?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, Lyra didn't. But she did have...
She had a statement that she wanted.
What she was going to do, which was her and every woman in the crowd, basically, takes off their mask and unzips their coat or whatever, and is just wearing a white gown, the type of vow gown that Shadera is wearing, and just stands there maskless, just breaking the law in spite of everything, in front of the president, in front of everybody.
This was her big moment.
And
Yep.
that was, as we come to find out, the only thing that was a surprise
Yep.
to the president because
Well, there
Maximus
was
knew.
another surprise.
Yes, well, the only thing to the ultimate surprise, because he knew everything that everybody else was planning, because it was a double cross. The rebels thought Brooker was working for them, but the entire time he was working for the president.
So I also kind of called that.
Mhm.
I was disappointed, and I was like, I know that somebody has to be, like, the inside man.
Right, otherwise this book would be one book.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like, I knew that something was gonna happen, and I was like, "Shit, is it really gonna be Brooker?" And I was bummed
I know.
because it was.
I don't think I don't think I called that it was Brooker. I really think it was a good sort of red herring to just give me my "I'm right" moment. And I'm like, "Okay, I figured it out. Brooker's alive. Can't possibly be another thing with him." And I think I just sort of put it away on, like, that side of my
Yeah,
brain.
that was a good twist.
Yeah. So, and he was working, and he was just as bad and just as terrible as
Maximus.
Maximus.
I kind of feel like in the second book, there could be a redemption arc for Brooker. I'm not sure, that's probably too early to say,
Yeah.
but I don't know because he does the one thing that I was absolutely praying
Would not
would not
happen.
happen.
Give it to the people, Katie. This was, yeah,
Callum is killed. Brooker shoots Callum
right in
right
the
in the
head.
head, right in front of Lyra, and I knew it. I knew that it was gonna happen,
Yeah.
and I kind of thought it was gonna be Lyra. They, say they love each other, they have this, like, huge love story.
Mhm.
Ugh, and I was like, "No, this can't end well for them, unfortunately,"
And it didn't.
and
And
it
that
really
was,
didn't.
I was gonna say, not only was it a I screamed out loud when that happened. I went,
No.
"No!"
Yeah,
Like, I,
that's
like, out by myself in my room, so sad because he was such a good character, and I was devastated. But also another thing that just this doesn't happen in a ton of popular books, at least anymore. It was the no person is safe killing. It's been so
Yeah,
long
yeah,
since a main character, somebody who has a POV chapter in the book, is actually killed. And this man is killed. It's
it's
very clear.
really yeah, there's no coming back for that, and
No,
there was no faking Callum's death,
no, I
unfortunately,
don't think so.
and that really hurt me inside.
That really hurt me inside too.
And this is when literally shit hits the fan, and it's one thing
One
after
thing.
another.
This is the last, like, 75 pages of the book, and it is a roller coaster ride.
Yep,
You said that you just turned on your lights and sat up in bed.
yep,
You were just like,
so
"I have to, like, it's a whole new thing. I have to sit up. I have to focus. I
yep,
have to I can't be
because
lying down."
I was laying down reading this, and I was like, "Okay, I've gotta finish it. I know I'm super close," and the second that Callum dies, like, you're going into, like, the final
Yeah,
battle, essentially, and then when Callum dies, I had to sit up. I had to turn all the lights on, I had to sit up and finish the book reading,
yeah,
and I couldn't my mouth was open the entire
yeah.
time for the rest of the book.
And then the next and final twist is that Maximus goes to kill Grayson. Mickle, his real dad, and the captain.
His name is McCall.
Oh, really?
Captain McCall.
Interesting. I was pronouncing it Mickle because
Mickle?
that's just the way
Michael?
that a lot of my, Danish colleagues who name are also Mickle, it's spelled like that, is
Oh,
Mickle.
really?
Yes.
I thought it was Paul, but
You know what?
we don't know.
We don't know. No
Yeah.
audiobook. But steps in front of it, Grayson takes the bullet
Yeah.
and is also killed. And we see Alara.
Well, I knew that his bio dad was gonna bite the
Yeah,
bullet.
yeah,
That was kind of definitely something that I knew, but then this next part,
yeah. I didn't see it coming at
this
all.
I did not see coming literally
So,
at all.
Alara, who's been on the stage the entire time, cowering behind, like, a something, trying to hide from the bullets,
Yeah.
because what we were given the entire book is that she's been beaten down, she's been broken.
Yep.
Maximus has broken this woman. She might have, like, her little minor rebellions to try to, like, help her children on a daily basis, but
Yeah.
anytime she tries, he
He
takes her
gets
to a dungeon and actually tortures her by hanging her by her face. And
that is like the math with
yeah,
Leonardo
that is
DiCaprio.
yeah, that is like that's the man in the mask, yeah,
Yeah.
like, Bruce Mason just tortures her, and she comes out and not only just slowly no one sees her because no one pays attention to
No.
her, and just, like, picks up a gun, points it right at Maximus and says, "Kneel," and we
Yeah.
find out that her name, everybody has a code name in this book, and her code
Yeah.
name is Python. And we didn't really hear too much about Python throughout the book, but it was obviously a very important rebel. And Alara has been running the rebellion this entire time.
Yep.
She shoots Maximus
Right
right in
in
the
the
head.
head.
right in the head. And she had this quote, which I thought was perfect.
Yep.
It says, Alara laughed, the sound genuine despite everything. Men never truly understand the meaning of patience. You see, men like you can't comprehend the concept of suffering, the lesson to be learned in it, especially not in silence. But women, that's all we do. We endure, we wait, we survive.
Yep. I highlighted that as well.
Yeah. And just shone right in the head. And she said, there is mercy in the heart,
Yeah.
but not for you.
It's so good.
Boom, done. Like, that's it. And the book ends.
I know.
Just like when you read it for the first time, I was like, I had no idea. Chills.
I think it's Callum who's I don't know if he's on the phone with Python or
Yeah.
I don't know, and one of those notes I made is, how much did Callum know?
Because Callum did at one point know everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much he knew that Brooker was alive. He
Yeah.
knew like he had pretty much all of the pieces of the puzzle except for the Brooker was also double crossing. Knew at one point you assumed that he knew everything.
Yeah, and he was on the phone with Python, like, you
Mhm.
heard that name, you knew how important it was, but you don't get
No.
much more from that. But remember he was saying, he's like, "We've had these plans, and it's time, like, it's time for the plans to
Yeah.
come to fruition." So that kind of leads me to believe that Callum knew about Alara.
It's very possible. I wouldn't be surprised if she did, but we'll never know because he's dead. I know. It was yeah, that last page, and that was, again, my obvious scene stealer if we were gonna do it in the beginning, was that entire stage scene. It was just, like but it in such an earned way, and then so surprising, like, I didn't see Alara coming for sure.
No, I did
I
not
didn't
see.
see Callum coming either, I should have, though. Like, I should
I
have
knew
seen
it.
some sort of big death, but again, it's been so long
Yeah, I
since
knew
a book actually gave a big death, killed one of the inner circle, killed a
well,
core 4.
I know, but I was like, "Oh, I feel like this love story kind of wrapped up." Like,
Yeah.
that was the love story in this book,
Mhm.
and we got that tied off really nicely, and I was like, "Something's gonna happen to them." I didn't know if it was gonna be Callum or Lyra,
Mhm.
but I knew it was gonna be one of them.
Yeah. You know what I wanna talk about just briefly before we
What?
close out, is I wanna talk about some of the themes because I think in this book, this book was really trying to say some things. It was a really good balance between some societal commentary
Yeah,
and also just one of the best stories you've ever read with some fun romance thrown in.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it was really doing some stuff. The obvious ones, which we've talked about briefly, was, like, the class inequity and
yeah,
military state, and that's the world itself. The surveillance and the propaganda I thought was really interesting,
yeah.
and I think it was the surveillance, the drones that they were using.
Mhm.
I think that's what was sort of giving me, like, that Blade Runner future or even that
Fifth
Fifth Element
Element, yeah.
future. I think that's what was giving this was very much not sci-fi, it didn't take place in space or anything like that,
No.
but it had that, like, advanced technology.
Well, that's, I think, the part of the it's not magic, but it's, like, advanced technology that almost feels
Magical.
magical.
Yeah, because these drones at one point could, like, shrink to a
Yeah,
thing and get into a window and,
yeah,
like, go through a crack underneath a door.
yeah,
So, again, it could hear through concrete.
yeah,
Um, and I think that's I mean, if we're just gonna compare it to a lot of the concerns in society today, like, I think that's a
yeah,
lot of, like, what we're talking about, like, the Vera are very much ICE agents, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, it doesn't take much to compare what's happening in Minneapolis to the much more extreme version that's happening in this dystopian world, but it's not that big of a step.
yeah,
And I think that's a big part of the commentary. And then the one that I was most interested in was really like the feminine rage and then the reclaiming agency. Like
yeah.
like that was so important. There was not a single woman in this book, it turned out. You thought maybe Alara was maybe broken, but she wasn't,
No.
right? So there wasn't a single woman in this book that wasn't just
Yeah,
simmering in rage and just
for the right time.
waiting for the right time.
Yeah.
And you had Shadera who didn't do so much waiting, to be fair.
No.
She is of
She was
all
very active.
she was very active, she was very impulsive. She's the tip of the blade, you
Yep,
know? She's the soldier of this situation, and she is happy to take out her rage on
yep,
anybody who even looks at her wrong.
yep.
And when she's not, she's just drowning it in vodka.
Oh, that was another thing that was so funny, the way that because she's like, "Damn, this alcohol is good in
Good.
the heart."
It's good in the heart.
She
She's
was constantly drunk. In fact, she was drunk when they killed all of those men in the apartment.
she was just wasted, and
Oh, so funny.
and Yeah, because there's nothing she can do. She can
Yeah.
only drink and kill, and that's the only thing that she can do
Yep.
for the amount of rage that she has. But Lyra,
Yeah.
this is a woman who sat and waited and quietly taught herself how to fight, how to shoot, so she could take her revenge, like,
Yep.
used her influence to make that statement at the vow ceremony, and to help, d the plan went sideways, but to, like
Yeah.
but was a very important part of this plan that they were going to do to hopefully kill Maximus, which, of course,
Yeah.
went sideways. And then Alara, the reclaiming of her agency from Maximus is, was literally shooting him, but, like, she had been lying in wait for years to make that happen. And that compared with the statement that Lyra made with all of these women, like, taking off of their masks is, like, was, I mean, powerful. A powerful reclamation of agency.
I know, and when Alara says, "I've never been prouder to be your mother," before
Yeah.
anything even happens on the platform
Yeah.
or the ceremony, and Lyra quickly was like, "Does she know what I'm about to
Yeah.
do?" It's like, it's those little hints that
Mhm.
Alara was in there the entire
Yeah.
time, and there's a few of those throughout the book, and I think that that's great.
Yeah. And even when I heard that on the platform, like, I heard that and I was like, "Oh, she must get that something's about to happen," because you
Yeah.
thought Alara was broken, but not in the sense that she didn't know what was going on, but that she didn't have any fight left in her.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, she couldn't be the one who did anything anymore. That was what you thought about Alara the entire
yeah,
time. And I really thought that she's not an idiot. She saw what was happening and she's like, "Oh, they're rebelling.
yeah,
Good for them." Not that she knew everything because she was the head of the rebellion. And Jaeger, who was like the head of the Daggermouths, one of the only other times that we heard Python outside of Callum was just when they were going in and out of the heart.
yeah.
And you could tell that he knew at least something about Python.
I mean, this set up the second book,
Yeah.
and the second book is called Python, of
Yeah.
course, and so I cannot fricking wait.
Yeah. It was
One hell of a ride.
one hell of a ride, and it was all the way through. Yes, the last 100 pages was some of the best I've ever read,
Yeah.
but the entire book was really, really good,
It's been a long time. This I'm so happy.
and it was the perfect mix of strong world building,
Yep,
dystopian world, very strong characters,
yep.
the not pulling back with any of the characters. Like, she kept them all really morally gray.
Yeah, I read that this author, H.M. Wolfe, like, that's something that she is passionate about.
Yeah, is that
Um,
there's no goody two shoes anywhere in
yeah,
the world, particularly not in worlds such as
and
this.
unfortunately, I feel like it also means that no one is safe in her books.
It's been so long. You know what it reminded me of? The YA
Yeah,
dystopian novels of the aughts,
yeah,
of the 2010s. No one was safe, and it hasn't been since those YA novels
yeah, no, these
that people are dying. Like, even, like, in romantasy nowadays that, like, anybody in, like, the whatever your inner circles are,
yeah,
they're pretty much safe.
your
It's been a while.
cadre.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've read a
Well,
main character death.
all the 13 die.
Yeah, but not Manon. She would have been the shocking
Yeah.
death. It's not
No,
that there aren't deaths, but, like, truly one of, like, the you have a POV.
I know, I know, I know. I mean, I will say that was when I read it in, Divergent. I was like, "I can't believe I was in this entire series until the end," and the main character just fucking killed herself
Yeah.
to save everybody else.
Yeah.
I was so pissed. I will never forgive Veronica Roth for that.
Veronica Roth will never
Never.
forgive you. But
All right, Elise, give us your final rating.
I think this is the first time I'm ever gonna do this, but I do think it's like a 6-star read. If you allowed me to do my thumbs up ratings, it would be, like, too enthusiastic to the sky thumbs up. So I think it is a 6-star read. I've never read in honestly, years, a 6-star book.
I would say this is 100% a six-star book,
I think the last yeah, it's
but I would say Rose and Chains is a six-star book to me.
and that was like a 5 and that was a solid 5 to me. That was great. But,
Yeah,
like,
but
it was
this is unbelievable.
and this one, I'm recommending it to
Me
everybody.
too.
I
Every single
actually
time.
think everybody can read this book. I mean, it doesn't matter what your preferred I mean, unless you're somebody who I guess, only biographies for me, please, then
Yeah,
I don't think
yeah.
you'd like it. But anybody who just likes a good book, you will like this book. And the fact that it's a duology,
I
I
know.
think is really great. And I kinda want people to get in now because we're not necessarily ground floor. We're not. I
But
mean,
it's
people were
still
talking
early.
about this. It's early in
Yeah.
just the life of this book, and I don't know what that marketing budget Simon and Schuster is gonna give this girl, but I think it's about to blow up.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it's like, this is a grown-up Hunger Games without the trials,
Yep.
and it's so marketable.
Everybody needs to read this.
Yeah.
Your life will be better because of it.
Yeah, God, that last 100 pages, man, was unbelievable. I can't wait
Unbelievable.
to talk to more people about
I
it as they
know.
continue to read it.
Unfortunately, I feel like me and you are the only people right now that have read it
In our circle, yes,
in our
but
circle.
we're throwing it out there.
I'm going to the office tomorrow, telling everyone,
Yeah.
telling everyone to read it.
It reminds me of, like, early days of Hunger Games or the early days of even, like, ACOTAR when people were just like, "I don't know," and you'd tell them to read it,
Yeah,
and
and they're
then
like, "Oh my god."
they'd be like, "Oh my god." I remember a roommate of mine, I was like, "You should really read The Hunger Games." He would take it to work, and then he would hide in an office to read the book when he, like, didn't have meetings or anything, just to, like, in an office where nobody could see him to read because he couldn't stop reading. He's a reader, but he's not a huge reader, but it's one of those books that anybody will like.
Yep.
So
So,
good.
if that doesn't convince you to read, I don't know
No,
what
but
will.
I don't know what will either.
All right, why don't you tell us what we're reading
All
next?
right, we're gonna read Half His Age by Jeanette McCurdy next. This is her first fiction novel.
Yep.
She wrote I'm Glad My Mom Is Dead,
Yeah.
which is her memoir that came out a couple of years ago, and it's, I think, a little bit different for both of us.
Yeah.
Like, this is truly like a literary fiction book from, like, from a buzzy new author,
Yep.
and I'm interested to see what's going on. I
Yeah.
have no real idea what it's about, but
Well, we're about to find out.
we are about to find out, and I think it's good to diversify, Katie. We said we were gonna diversify this year.
And I think we already are.
I think we are. I think we're doing a great job.
Really
Good.
pat ourselves on the
Yeah, yeah,
back.
good job, us. Good job. Good job.
All right. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, no genre shaming unless it's funny. Bye.